welcome back to part 2 of my Graphic 45 Life's a Journey collection, a book box and journal. So in this video we're going to work on the journal. So we need 3 pieces of lightweight chipboard. So this is the thinner stuff. It's great for journals. And these measure 7 by 5.5, so you need 2 pieces that are 7 by 5.5 and one that measures 7 by 1.5. Okay, and all the dimensions for everything I'm using will be listed down below, so you won't have to go looking for those. So we have our 2 pieces of cardstock here. I have 12 by 12 because it's all that I have, but I would prefer the 8.5 by 11 for this just because it's kind of wasteful to use pieces this big, but it is all that I have. And they are the 65-pound weight. So we have already glued my 2 pieces together here. Just with some score tape, put it down and glued my 2 pieces together. Just using my Fabri-Tac glue here because it's my favorite to use with the lighter weight cardstock. Alright, so we're going to put our spine piece down right in the center of where our 2 pieces of paper meet, and about 1 inch down from the top. And then we're going to put the next one right next to that, just like so. And we're going to leave about 1/8 of an inch of a gap there between our 2 pieces. So I've got all my pieces glued on there, and I've gone ahead and cut the excess off all the way around of all my cardstock, and now I'm going to go ahead and start folding my cardstock over my chipboard. Now that I've got them all folded over, I'm going to go ahead and cut out my corners, and we're going to do it the same way we always do. Just coming in here and in here and just leaving the slightest bit of our cardstock between our chipboard and where our cardstock starts. So now that we've got that done, we can go ahead and add tape to all 4 sides of our chipboard and all 4 sides of our cardstock. And I am just using the 3/8 of an inch score tape here. You could use 1/2 inch for this step, but again, this is what I have, so this is what I'm working with. Just put it all the way around, and then just these last 2 here. Alright, now we're going to grab our bone folder and give all of our tape a really nice burnish down. So, wonderful. Now we can go ahead and remove 2 of our short sides of our tape on the chipboard here, and then 2 of these long ones down here. Perfect. And then we're going to go ahead and fold our first side over, starting right in the middle. And just smooth it over. Same thing on this side. And then we will just continue all the way around. Alright, so now we've got all of our sides nicely folded down. So now we're just going to grab our bone folder and go into our little grooves here that we created and just break up those fibers a little bit just so our book folds over nicely, or our journal in this case. And there we go, there's our cute little journal. Perfect size. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and attach our tape for our spine hider piece, and our spine hider piece measures 4 by 6 3/4. So 4 by 6 3/4. So you're going to go ahead and add a piece of tape on either side of our spine here, the inside and the outside, and be careful not to go all the way to the top or bottom because our spine hider piece is 1/4 inch smaller. Alright, so all over the inside here. And then all along all 4 sides of the spine hider piece. If any of you have watched my videos for a while, this is what I call this piece because I don't know what the technical name is. So I call it the spine hider piece. And I think it works. It explains it well enough. Alright, so now you're just going to go ahead and burnish down that tape. And this tape here. Alright, and we're going to go ahead and remove all the backings. Alright, so now we've removed all of our backings. So we've removed them off the back of this piece and there. So now we're just going to center it, top and bottom, left and right. Give it a good press down. Grab my bone folder and just burnish, burnish, burnish. Beautiful. Alright, now you can go ahead and kind of lift and run across here at the same time. Find your spine in there. Alright, and then once we have it, we can give it a good bend. And it is going to be more flexible than our regular mini albums because we did use the lightweight chipboard. Alright, so now before we can add our binding for this book, we do need to add the pattern paper for the inside and outside of our spine. These measure 6 1/2, so decide which pattern paper you want on the inside and which one you want on the outside. And I think I want this lighter one on the inside because it's where we're going to be making our markings. So just to be able to see those better, I'd rather have it on the inside. So it does measure 6 1/2 by 1 1/4. And we are just gonna glue it right in the center here. I guess there is no upside down yet, but make sure you're gluing it how you want it. Alright, and then the same thing for our outside piece, and I think I'll use this black pattern. Center it in there nicely. Okay. Go ahead and give that a good press down. Alright, so I've gone ahead and made my markings here, and I hope that you can see them fairly well. So what I've done is our spine, the whole spine, is 1.5 inches wide by 7 inches tall. So what I've done is I measured in 1/2 inch from my groove, from my fold line here, and measured in 1/2 inch on both sides. So 1/2 inch in, 1/2 inch there. And then I measured in 1/2 inch from the top to this line and from the top to this line. And then I made little dots, and that's where we're gonna punch. And then I just connected those at the bottom so they would be even, but it's the same thing at the bottom. You measure in 1/2 inch from this side, 1/2 inch from this side, and then 1/2 inch from the top and bottom, and that's where you're gonna get your perfect dots. And then I also made one right in the center. So I measured up 3.5 inches on either side and 1/2 inch, or an inch and, sorry, 3/4 of an inch in on both sides to get that dot there, because that's our perfect center. Okay, so you can rewind this part a few times if you didn't quite get that, but it's fairly simple. So I've got my big bite here because I actually recently lost my beautiful crocodile at security at the airport because they didn't understand what it was, so they took it away from me. So now I'm using this huge thing here. I'm going to line it up with the 1/8 here so that I'm punching a 1/8 inch hole in here, if that makes sense. But really, any hole punch would work because we don't need it to be a specific size to fit something in there or anything like that. So I've got all my holes punched here now. So you're gonna have 2 at the top, 1 in the middle, and 2 at the bottom, just like that. So now I've just got some black elastic cord here. You can get it at the dollar store, but I just got a big thing of it from Amazon. So what you're going to do is you're going to take up the one end of it, run it through one of your circles here, or one of your punches, just like that. Bring it through till you've got about that much hanging off the edge. And then bring it down here, cut it off so you have about the same amount hanging off this edge. And then bring it through the same side, the same hole on the bottom, just like this. So now that we've got our string through, just like this, we're going to put it to the side and we're going to create the pocket that's actually going to hide our binding inside the book. So I've got a piece of the pattern paper from the collection here that measures 7 by 6, and I'm using the pocket punch board from We Are Memory Keepers. And so I've decided that I want my pocket to be 3 1/4 by 4 1/2. So I've looked on here and it says 3 1/4 by 4 1/2. You would need a piece of 7 by 6 paper. All right. And then it says one of the little plugs here needs to be in D. So they've got like numbers there. So in order to make that size, one of them needs to be in D, and then one of them needs to be in 2 down here. I hope that makes sense for you guys. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to place our pocket in here with the 7-inch side going up because I want a tall skinny pocket. If you wanted a wide pocket like this instead of a tall skinny one, you would put your paper in like this initially, but since I want a tall skinny one, I'm putting it in the tall way. Alright, so you're just going to put it in to these 2 pieces here, just butt them up against the top and the side. Then you're going to close this down, and then it has this handy dandy little knife here, and you just put it in this groove and you just run it down and it cuts off that side for you there. Alright, and then you flip it over just like this so that now the piece we've cut is on this side. You close this back down, make sure it's nicely butted up, put it in the groove again, and cut it. Alright, and now we're going to flip it over so that our cut pieces are down here. And we're going to do the same thing up here. Cut that out. And then flip it over, just like so. And cut that out. Alright, and now we have to do the scoring. So while it's still in there, there are some little notches here that show you where you're going to score. So you just run it down there. make your score mark on that side, and then I'm going to flip it over here and make my score mark here. Okay, and then I'm going to put it back in like this, something like that, and I'm going to make my score mark there, and there, just like that. Alright, and then these two sides would come in like so, and then one side comes up to close it in. So you would add your tape there and your tape here. I've already got a piece with my tape on it here, so this is the exact same pocket, just with different paper. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and tie our string, not too tight and not too loose, just like that Goldilocks zone, because we want to be able to slip our pieces easily underneath, but we want it to be pretty secure. Alright, so once you've tied it, go ahead and cut them off as close as you can, about that, about 1/4 inch away. And then what you're going to do is you're going to slip the whole pocket underneath this, and you're going to leave it so it's like running along one side of our flap, one flap here, and you're going to bring it in, and then I've already attached some tape over here on this side, so you're going to go ahead and remove that tape just like so and fold it over. Alright, and then we're going to go ahead and remove the bottom piece here and bring it up just like that. So now this is actually going to be the center of that section of the journal that we're going to have, of your signature that we're going to have in there, and it'll fold down. You can put little things in it, but it's a really cool way to just hide that binding in there. Alright, so now let's make some of the little bits and bobs that are going to go inside our journal. So our journal is going to have 2 signatures. Alright, so we're going to work on one signature together. Alright, so the first thing you're going to need to do is you're going to need a piece that measures 10 by 8. And on the 8-inch side, you're going to score at a 1.5 up from the bottom. So you're going to score at 1.5 on the 8-inch side. And on the 10-inch side, you're just going to score at 5 right down in the middle. And then this side's going to fold up, and this side is going to fold in, just like so. Okay, but we do need to cut this little section out here so that it can be our little file folder look. So what I've done here is from this line here, this center score line, I've marked out a 1/4 inch on both sides. So I've marked a 1/4 inch from the score line to here and a 1/4 inch from the score line to here. And now what I'm going to do is with my scissor, I'm just going to line up with that 1/4 inch mark, and I'm going to cut all the way up just like this. Just cut a little triangular wedge out, just like so. Okay, so we've got this now, right? So before we can glue these up, we have to glue our pattern paper in here. So I've glued them in, and I've added a little piece of 1/4 inch score tape to the outside of these flaps. So I've glued in my 2 pieces of pattern paper here, and I've attached 2 pieces of score tape to the inside of my 2 flaps here. They're going to fold up. 2 pieces of 1/4 inch score tape, so I'm just going to remove one of the backings and fold that up. And then the same thing over here on this side, just remove one of the backings and fold it up. And I'm just going to get my bone folder and give it a good, nice crease, just like so. Alright, and then for these 2 little pieces here, I've cut 2 pieces that measure 1 1/4 inches by 4 3/4. And then what I've done is I've marked in 1/4 inch from this edge here. And then the same thing on this one, I marked in 1/4 inch from this edge here. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing again. I'm going to cut from this corner up to my mark, just to give that nice angle there. Just like so. And then these are going to just glue on right there. So just go ahead and glue them on, just so we don't forget which side goes where. Alright, just like that. And then that is one of the coverings for one of our signatures. Alright, so it's just going to fold up like that. Alright, so the next piece that we need to work on is this little piece here, and this piece is super simple. This piece measures 8 by, double check the height, 8 by 4.5, so it's 4.5 by 8, and this would go here in our signature. All right, and then the next thing that you'll need is 5 pieces of copy paper, just plain old copy paper, and you're going to cut the copy paper down to 9.5 by 6 1/4. So 9.5 by 6 1/4, and then you're just going to fold it all in the middle, just like this. And then that piece would go here in our signature, just like that. And then the final piece we have to do for our signature is, it's basically a smaller version of our sleeve for our signature. This piece measures 9 by 8, and you're going to score it at 4.5 on the 9-inch side, and on the 8-inch side you're going to score it at 2 inches going across this way. So 2 inches on the 8-inch side and 4.5 on the 9-inch side. All right, so we're going to go ahead and again fold up our bottom here and fold in the middle, just like so. And then again, I am going to mark my 1/4 inches here. So if we line it up, our score with the 1, then we can easily mark a 1/4 inch on both sides of the 1. Alright, so now you just need to take your scissors and cut from that mark down to our score line there at an angle all the way down. And then the same thing for that side there. Alright, so then we'll have this here. So for this one, we don't need to cover the inside because we are using pattern paper. So we will just add our 1/4 inch score tape, just like so. Give it a good burnish. And we'll remove the backings. Make sure no tape is poking out. And fold it up. And same thing on that side. Alright. So that is our little piece that's going to go in the center here. So let me show you how it's going to go into our journal. So each signature will have its own pocket and its own one piece of each of the things we've just created. So you'll need to create double of everything. So this is going to go underneath first, just like that. All right, and then this piece here will go under that. And then our copy paper will go on, oh sorry, it'll go between these two. And then this little guy is gonna go the last thing in there before the pocket. All right. So that is how it will look on the inside of each signature there. All right, so you'll have your initial pocket here that you can put things in. You'll have this piece here, and then you'll have the paper, and then you'll have the other little file folder, and then you'll have the little pocket that you can put things in, but it also just holds your signature, or it just hides your binding there really nicely. All right, so I've removed our little signature so I could show you how we're going to do our closure for the book. So I've got some more of our stretchy twine here, and I've got about, I don't know, like a 2-foot length. It does not need to be that long. And I'm just going to, in the middle, just fold it over so I have that. I'm just going to bring it from the inside out, and I'm just going to pull it through, and I'm going to close my book, and then I'm going to bring it over the top of it, and then I'm going to decide how tight I want it, and I can pull my string down here, because if it's hanging out the bottom, I can pull it to the tightness that I want. So I think that's about it. So I'm going to try to keep that tightness while I pull this off, and I'm going to go ahead and make a knot inside here, and I'm actually going to double knot it. Go ahead and give it a nice double knot just so we know it's not going anywhere in there. Once you've got that done, you can just go ahead and cut off all the excess, just like that. And then we will be able to have a really nice closure for our journal. All right, so now let me just go ahead quickly and cover up the inside and outside of the journal and put the other signature in, and then I'll show you the finished journal. Okay guys, so I finished decorating the journal. I'm just going to give you a really quick sneak peek inside, because you will see the finished journal in the walkthrough. So I do have the elastic over for the closure that we attached, and then I finished covering the inside of it as well, and I just added some of the little icons and things from the die cut pack, and this is just from the 3x4 cut aparts. So there's just a few things in there, but you will see the finished journal in the walkthrough. So thank you so much for joining me for this tutorial, and if you haven't yet, please subscribe and give me a thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. Thank you so much, and the walkthrough video will be linked below, so just go and enjoy that. Have a wonderful day.